Welcome to part 2. Now, before we head to Kampala, where here live bullets are being used against demonstrators, I have two quick things to say. We on this channel already know what's going to happen in Kenya, ultimately. And many of us who are doubting have begun to see the very dramatic things that have unfolded on our local political scene since last August, when we first highlighted this word of the Lord. Now, quick question. Do you honestly believe that all this massive change is going to take place in Kenya and leave her neighbors completely untouched? I doubt. I don't think so. And that's my personal opinion. And I believe, and I think, again, that's my personal opinion, that the difference will be that our neighbors will not know what hit them. In Kenya, we have had many warning signs. In Kenya, God has sent very many of his servants to speak his mind. So even many politicians, or a sizable amount of politicians, already know something is going to happen. Number 2, I have a question. Who are the handlers of DP William Ruto? I ask because the timing of his visit to Kampala on Sunday to meet with Yoweri Museveni was all wrong. You don't visit a country when there's some such serious manenos happening locally, because you could easily be seen as siding with one side of the political divide. What was this that could not be discussed over the phone? Because picture this, DP William Ruto, whatever you say about him, is a heartbeat away from the presidency, and anything can happen. So William Ruto becomes the president, and then in Uganda, there are changes. Bobi Wine becomes president, or somebody sympathetic to Bobi Wine. Now that flushes our diplomatic relationship with our neighbors right down the toilet. That was a very major blunder from somebody who aspires to be the president of Kenya. Very wrong move. And many Kenyans on Twitter, Facebook, and elsewhere have already expressed the same view, and I agree with them 1000%. Anyway, now straight to Kampala, as some people call it. And we need to start by understanding where Museveni's real power stems from. Have you ever asked yourself the question, why despite all the many human rights abuses in Uganda happening, the West, and especially the United States of America, have been very quiet? The closest they've ever come is a playful slap on the wrist that nobody takes serious. Well, the answer to that question in one word is coltan. Coltan is a mineral mined in the Congo, which is important to the US security of the state. It is used in literally every electronic item you can think of, including nuclear warheads. Yep. Now, this very mineral was at the center of the order to kill Patrice Lumumba, the great hero of Congo, the first democratically elected prime minister of the Congo. Yep, in case you didn't know, it was President Eisenhower, who ordered the Lumumba hit. Now for years, as there's been chaos in the Congo, the Washington point man on the ground has been President Yoweri Museveni. Now, without going into some very sensitive stuff, let's just say Yoweri Museveni has been very strategically important to Washington. And the Kampala dictator has played his cards so smartly that he has remained virtually indispensable to Washington for many years. But guess what? Vindu vichenjanga, vindu vibadlikanga. Things change. That's a translation. Especially in politics. And get this, many times in politics, things change so dramatically, so fast, that somebody who has been in power for so long, somebody who power has gone into their head, will never see it coming. Ask Idi Amin when you get to the next life. In fact, ask every dictator who has been toppled when you get to the next life, and they'll tell you the same thing. They never saw it coming. And I'll tell you why I'm saying this. Okay? Now in the brutal attack, on Bobi Wine, one of the soldiers came to the car, very deliberately, and shot Bobi Wine's driver dead. Now some very short-sighted people may want to say, oh, that happened in the chaos. Get serious. Soldiers take orders. Soldiers do not do anything, even in chaos, without orders. This was a classic scare tactic, a warning, if you like. And to me, it was even more than that, because it spoke very loudly. It should tell anybody, with a brain to think and who wants to use it, that the brutal dictatorial government of Yoweri Museveni takes Bobi Wine very, very seriously. They see this young man as a serious threat, and it is not too difficult to see why. This recently elected member of parliament has national appeal. He goes to a place, expresses support for a certain candidate, and that candidate wins. Not by a small margin, by a landslide. The win of his candidate is such that rigging becomes very difficult. Folks, this is not Kizza Besigye, with all due respect to that older politician and long-time main opposition leader. Folks, Bobi Wine is a new thing. Bobi Wine is the worst nightmare for Yoweri Museveni. In my humble view, after carefully putting all the pieces together, all the pieces that is Ugandan politics, I can only come to one conclusion, and one conclusion alone. And that conclusion is, Museveni's time is up. The only question left is how he's going to leave power. And that depends very heavily on how quickly reality is going to dawn on him. The longer it takes, the worse it's going to be for him. Folks, there's a simple lesson that dictators have never learned through the centuries. And it is this: there aren't enough bullets in the world, there aren't enough guns in the world to stop a people who are fed up with you. It is a simple truism that has been proved by history over and over and over again. But then, as they say, we never learn from history. Now, President Yoweri Museveni has told the BBC today that the torture of Bobi Wine is fake news. It didn't happen. The man is very healthy. Now, the right way to do this kind of thing, is to actually parade the person in question, and show him to the press, have press take photographs, showing that he's very fine and has not been tortured. Show us some evidence to prove what you're saying. Now, the current political unrest in Uganda looks like it's just starting. Now, the indications that Bobi Wine may be in a life-threatening situation. Now, this information has been persistent, and it has been from more than one source who should know, or from more than one source that can be taken very seriously. Now, I'm just praying that this information is wrong, because I don't want to think of the consequences if it is correct. Now, I'm totally amazed and taken aback at the way the events in Uganda, especially the recent events, have impacted on Kenyans. The great interest Kenyans have taken on the events that have unfolded in Uganda over the last few days. My view is that that impact will remain and could have far-reaching repercussions even on Kenyan politics. And even if Museveni manages to quell the current uprising, I called it an uprising, even if he manages to put it down, the bottom line is that it has started. And stopping it is going to be very, very difficult, whatever the fate of that great Ugandan, Bobi Wine, is. But there's some very good news for all East Africans. And that good news is this: the days of dictators in East Africa are very numbered indeed. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.